Hi team, welcome to the second session of our base strength program, focusing on developing your strength through range of movement, incorporating balance, stability, coordination, and ultimately developing your strength as we work through the program. Today you are going to need some form of hand weights. I've got some plates with me today. You could use kettlebells, you could use dumbbells. You'll also need a stretch cord. If you don't have weights, you can do some of the exercises with stretch cord as well. So grab those if you haven't already got them on hand and we'll get going. So to start with, we are just going to get some mobility and activation. So on the floor, we're just going to do some hip openers to begin with. So just sitting back but up nice and tall, so controlled through the core. And you would have seen this one plenty of times before, and hopefully it's something that you incorporate on a regular basis now, so it doesn't have to be before a strength session. This is a great one anytime, just to open up the hips. Could be before a run, a ride. Just really getting some movement laterally in our hips. If you're wanting to progress it, you can do it by taking your hands off the ground, and so it just brings in a little element of core there as well. Again, coordination. Then what we will do is just take that into then a stretch over as you go. So sitting up, coming through, over that knee, and back up again. So it just incorporates a nice dynamic stretch at the same time. So you should start to feel those glutes stretching out, hips opening up. Okay. We're then going to come up onto our feet. We're going to go into a bit of a frog squat. So again, we're trying to open up our hips. So to start with, we're just going to sit in this position, which is a position I love just sitting in general. And if you ever see kids, they're always sitting in position like this, down into a squat, and it's no problems whatsoever. You may be up here, that's totally fine. Work with your range of movement, but try and get your elbows into your knees. Try and push them open, and just going to do a little wiggle here. Go from toe to your heels. Just trying to get a little bit of extra movement in there. And then when you're ready, we're just going to do 6 frog squats. So bum into the air and back down. Bum in the air, down. 5 and 6. Going back down, having another little wiggle around. So you can go up onto your toe, so stretching through the toe, through your calf as you go through, onto the other side, and back again. Do 6 more frog squats. 2. Try and keep that chest up tall. 6. And just standing up, shaking it out. We're then just going to again then go back into that position, and we're just going to twist. So we want to put one hand firmly on the ground and the other one up to the sky, looking up to those fingers up into the sky. So getting a twist through the spine, switching hands, other hand onto the ground, and getting that arm up to the sky, twisting through your torso. So just working through each side here. Hold as long as you want. The idea is to get the twist through the torso. So with this grounded arm, try and push that through the knee, elbow into your knee, and then getting that hand high into the sky and pulling back. Another 1 or 2 on each side. Move through at your own pace. Just opening up the shoulders as well. Some movement through the spine. Okay. And bum into the air, hands on the ground or as low as you can go. We're just going to hold here for a moment, have a little wiggle around, and then we're going to roll up. So rolling up through the spine. So the head is the last thing that comes up. So through each of your vertebrae, coming up, coming up, coming up. Hands to the sky. Little tiny back bend. And then back down again. All the way down. Having a little shake out. And then rolling up through that vertebrae again. Slowly, slowly up. Head is the last thing that comes up. Hands to the sky. Little back bend. So pushing those hips out, opening the hips up again. And arms down. We're then going to go into a lateral lunge. So a nice wide stance here. So a bit wider than your hips. And we're going to go lunging to the side. And the key is you want your bum to go backwards. Okay, so you want that knee to stay behind your toes. And your bum is going backwards. Coming up, pushing those hips forward as you come up. And then down. Hips forward, down. And again, you can move through this at your own pace if you want to stay down a little bit longer and then back up. But I like to keep this as dynamic. Again, this is just getting us some activation, some mobility before we start our session. Couple more here. Try and go down a little bit lower if you can. And try and keep that chest up, so don't sink down, so keep that chest up nice and tall. As you stand up, pushing through those hips, so pushing the hips forward, opening up. Last couple here. Good job. All right, we're then going to do some plank walkouts. So we're going to go, just to get a little bit of core activation, so we're going to go down to the ground, hands on the ground, walking forward into a plank position, coming forward onto your toes, coming back, so getting a stretch through those calves, forward, into downward dog, forward. So you want to keep nice and strong through here, back into downward dog, and now walking those hands back. A nice stretch as you go. And we're going to work our way back up through that vertebrae by vertebrae. Head's the last thing that comes up. Arms up, little back bend, and back down again. So you can take your time with these. So into that plank position, then going forward, back, into a downward dog, pedal out those feet, back into plank position, good job, and then walking back up, rolling back up, hands to the sky, little back bend, and then we're going to do one more of those. Down we go, touching the toes, walking your way out, keeping nice and controlled as you do, so you want to be controlled through the core. Little stretches, get that core activated at the same time. Downward dog, pedal the feet out, going again, forward, back, up onto your toes, drop the heels, toes, drop the heels, downward dog, pedaling out, and last one, walking back to your toes, working your way up, vertebrae by vertebrae, arms reaching to the sky, and little back bend, and relax. Okay, last one here, just to work through our shoulders. We have just some shoulder pulls. So with your band, all we're doing here is just going back and squeezing our shoulder blades together. So here, squeezing shoulder blades. So what I'm trying to feel is that squeeze through here. So we're squeezing back. Arms about shoulder height. And what we're wanting to see here is not getting the squeeze through flaring our chest. So we're not wanting to flare out, keeping that nice and strong through our core. And the movement is through our shoulder blades. Take the tension off if you need, or if it's even too hard with a band, simply just start with your arms. So pushing those elbows back, squeezing the shoulder blades in, but try not to flare our chest to get movement. We're strong through the core, shoulders, elbows back, and making sure we're not creeping our shoulders up, so we're not hunching those shoulders up near our ears, keeping them down low. Couple more here. All right, shaking out the arms. So we're going to get stuck into today's session now, so I hope you feel a little bit mobile, warm, ready to get stuck into the session. So we are just going to need a weight of some sort, so choose a weight that is suitable for you. So depending on the size of your weight, you may be able to have your weight out in front of you, or if that's too hard, bringing it in close to your chest. So we're going to go in that wide stance. We're going to do some lateral lunges with weights. Wide stance, and we want the weight of our body to go through the heels of our foot. So getting that bum back through our heels. So a couple of ways you can do it. Weight is to your chest, and you're lunging here. And today's session we're looking at around 8 to 12. So because this is a one-sided one, we want 8 to 12 on each side. Or you could have the weight out the front. Okay, so weight here and out the front makes it more challenging. You could also move your weight in and out as well. So work with where you're at today or the size of the weight that you have, and just aim to build that up over time. So the key here is keep that chest up and that bum is going back. And ideally, over time, what we're looking for is trying to get our bum down as low as we can to our heel there as possible. Okay, so we don't want to just be up here, we're trying to get down nice and low. All right, once you've done 8 to 12 on each side, you're then taking a 45-second break, and we're doing that 3 to 4 times through. So you're going to press pause here. You're going to repeat that 3 to 4 times through with 45 seconds break in between. Then come back to me and we're getting ready for our next exercise. Okay, so after you've done your rounds of lateral lunges, we're on to upper body, and we're going to do a wide row. Now there's a couple of ways. We can either use band or your weights, which can be double arm or single arm. So we're down in a position here. So we've got our knees not in a 90-degree angle, we're just at a nice sort of 45-degree angle here. And what we're trying to do is elbow is reaching for the sky. So it's going up here without getting rotation, so we're not lifting it up through rotating through our torso. It is our arm that's doing all the work. Okay, so that's single arm. You could do double arm, depending on your weights and your level. So double arm, so again, so like that movement in our mobility, we're trying to squeeze those shoulder blades, elbows getting up to the sky, squeezing those shoulder blades, and we're aiming for 8 to 12 here. If you don't have weights, you can do essentially the same. Just got to work out the tension of your band and doing that same movement, either single arm or double arm. Okay, but the key is, again, we don't want rotation. We're not getting the upward movement through rotation. It is our upper body that's doing the work, and our core is keeping stable. Okay, so with a band, you can go single or double. But ideally, if you've got weights, get onto those. So once you've done 8 to 12 there, again, 45 seconds rest, and you should feel those. There should be enough weight that you've got that you're feeling it after 8 to 12. We're then doing 3 to 4 rounds in total, 45 seconds rest in between. Press pause. When you've done that, come back, and we're going to finish off with some core today. Okay, strength has been done. We're into our core. So we're going to do side plank with a needle thread. So a couple of variations you can do here. You can either have feet stacked, so on top of each other, or they can be unstacked, so one in front of the other. Unstacked is, or stacked is more advanced than unstacked. So you've got more control through the ground if your feet are unstacked. It's harder if they're stacked. So we're looking at a nice plank position. Okay, so we're here in plank, elbow underneath your shoulder, hips up, holding in that position. Then we're going to be threading the needle. So we're going to be going through, arm is coming up to the sky, holding in that position, and back down. So you're getting a twist through here and back up. So we're looking for 12 on each side here. Four. Keeping that hip up. Again, if you're finding this exercise is too advanced for you, unstack your feet. Don't think you have to be stacked. A few more here, nearly done, and then we'll switch sides. Make sure you're twisting through, so really trying to get that arm through. You're having to control yourself to stay up. We'll do one more. And relax. So switching on to the other side. You are then doing exactly the same on the other side. So try and go for 8 to 12. If 12 is too much for you today, then start at 8 and work your way up, either stacked or unstacked, on the other side. And then that's one round through. You're aiming for 3 to 4 rounds of that. Coming back, and we've got one last core exercise. So once you've done your side planks, both sides, 3 to 4 times through, we're going to be front plank, and we're going to be doing hip lifts. So what we want is a nice strong plank position. So neck is in line, back, bum is down, it's not sticking up, it's not sinking either. So nice and strong, elbows under the shoulders. And what we're doing here is we're going to holding for around 20 to 30 seconds. But while we're doing that, is we're doing leg lifts. So nice and slow, they don't have to be fast. So aiming for about 12 leg lifts, which is 12 on each side. Squeezing through that glute. This just adds complexity to the standard plank. You're having to control through your core as you lift that leg. A few more to go, keep holding there, nice and strong. Two more on each side. Last one. And down and relax. So that's roughly around 30 seconds it takes to do that on each leg. You're taking your 45 seconds break, and then you're repeating 3 to 4 times through. So once you've gone through those core exercises, you'll definitely feel that today. So well done. Press pause, go through those 3 to 4 times, and then once you've done those, come back, and we're going to finish with a little bit of cool down to finish. Okay, you are done the hard work for today. Now we're just going to do a little bit of mobility to finish off. So to start with, we're just going to stretch out nice and tall, pointing toes to one end of the room, fingers to the other end, trying to stretch out. And then we're going to just do roll-ups. So we're trying to, so like how we rolled down and up, standing, we're trying to do that as we're laying down. So rolling through vertebrae by vertebrae, coming, touching toes, then sitting up nice and tall, then rolling back down again. So hold here in that position, feel that stretch through your posterior chain, keep that chin tucked in, rolling down, control it, try not to drop down, control, 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 and down, stretching out again, toes to one end, fingers to the other end, stretching the body right out. Now we're going to roll back up again. Chin to your chest, tuck it in, rolling through those vertebrae nice and slow and controlled. Out to your toes, then sitting up, back to your toes, and then rolling back down again. Down. Back stretching out again, we'll do one more of those. Toes one way, fingers the other, really stretch out the body, nice streamlined position. Okay, arms up, chin to chest, rolling up, slow and controlled. Stretch out to your toes, sitting up tall, back to your toes, and one last down. Really take your time here, keep that chin tucked to your chest. Down, 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 slowly, slowly, slowly. And one last little stretch there. We're then going to bring our knees into tabletop position. Arms out a little bit wider, so not right by your side, give a little bit of stability here. Shoulders down on the mat, on your mat, so try not to have them up, get those shoulder blades on the mat, and we're just going to twist side to side. Just some do like little windscreen wipers here. Stretch out the back, stretch out the core. Nice and slow, you can hold it on the down phase. Try and keep those shoulders on the ground. So the idea is not just to get your knees to the ground, but keep those shoulders down. And look to that opposing shoulder, so eyes are the opposite way to your knees. You can hold each side for as long as or as little as you like. Couple more here. And the feet back down to the ground, and we're just going to stand up on our feet. Just going to go into a little bit of yoga flow to finish off. Hands and eyes to the sky, folding down, walking out into that plank position, coming down into chaturanga. So going down, it's like a push up, but going down. Arching your back, looking up to the sky, back down, tucking those toes back under, pushing up in that plank position, and then back into downward dog. Pedal out the feet, coming up, down into that push up into that back bend down, tucking feet under, pushing up, and down again. Pedal those feet out. So this is a really good flow that if you can get used to, you can roll through at your own pace. So go whatever pace you need today. You can be a bit faster, or if you want to hold a particular position a little bit more, then that's totally fine. Couple more here. Last one. Stretch, nice stretch here. Back down. Downward dog. Pedal those feet out. Really try and get those hips to the sky. Push through the shoulders, hands into your mat. Okay. Knees onto the floor. We're just going to go into child's pose to finish off. The knees nice and wide, stretching out. Wriggle those fingers in front of you. Head to your mat. Or if you can't, if that's a bit intense, you can put your hands here and rest your head on your hands and get your stretch through your groin. But if you can, ideally stretching those shoulders out as well. So trying to wiggle your hands forward. Even if you can't put your head on the mat, you can sit up here. Or if you need to bend your elbows or bring them a little bit wider if the stretch is a bit intense. Go with your range of movement. There's not one right way to do it. It's just what your body has. And we're just going to sit here and take a few big deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And sitting up when you're ready. And you are done for today. If you need to finish off with any other stretches or mobility or a little bit of rolling, perfect time to do it while you're in the mood. You've got your mat out and everything's here. So why not spend another 5 minutes of doing some rolling and enjoy. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next session.